There are forces in this world that operate unseen, beneath the surface of the conscious mind. Forces that draw people toward you or push them away. Forces that determine whether someone returns to you or disappears into the void of the past. These forces are not random. They follow a blueprint, a Stoic blueprint, one that the greatest minds in history have used to command the tides of fate itself. And once you understand this blueprint, once you master it, you will hold the power to shape reality in ways that seem almost supernatural. Welcome to Stoic Pathways. If someone has left you, if they have turned their back on you, walked away, vanished without a trace, understand this. The power to bring them back does not lie in chasing, pleading, or begging. That is the path of weakness, the path of desperation, and desperation repels. Instead, the key lies in power. Power over yourself, power over your emotions, power over the way you perceive and interact with the world. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But he also understood something deeper, something more profound. Your thoughts do not just shape your happiness, they shape your reality. The moment you become centered, indifferent to loss, unshaken by rejection, you no longer vibrate at the frequency of need. And when need is gone, the balance shifts. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, begins to return what you once chased. Think of the ocean. The harder you grasp at the waves, the more they slip through your fingers. But when you stand still, when you become the rock that the waves crash against, you become something impossible to ignore. The ocean, once elusive, now bends around you, acknowledging your presence, unable to move you. This is the essence of Stoic power. In ancient times, the warrior philosophers of Rome understood this principle deeply. They were trained not just in the art of war, but in the art of self-mastery. When a soldier's lover left him, he did not grovel, he did not chase. He simply returned to his training, honed his mind and body, and in doing so, became someone who could not be ignored. The moment you embrace this philosophy, you stop being an option, and you become a force. So, how does this work? How do you trigger the forces that bring someone back into your orbit? First, you must break free from emotional attachment. Attachment is a tether, an invisible chain that keeps you bound to a reality where you lack control. The ancient Stoics had a word for this: apatheia, not apathy, but a state of deep, unshakable inner peace. To reach this state, you must master three things: perception, control, and presence. Perception is the first battlefield. Your mind will tell you stories of abandonment, of rejection, of loss. But these are just stories. They hold no truth beyond the power you give them. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The moment you detach from these false narratives, you reclaim your power. Next is control. Not control over others, that is an illusion, but control over yourself. When you stop reacting emotionally, when you become the calm within the storm, others begin to sense it. They feel the shift. And here's the secret. When someone leaves, they expect you to crumble. They expect you to fall apart. But when you don't, when you rise, stronger, more composed, more powerful than before, it forces them to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about you. Presence is the final key. It is not enough to simply exist. You must embody strength. You must become the embodiment of purpose. When you channel your energy into something greater, a mission, a purpose beyond any single person, you become magnetic, and what is ignored today becomes obsessed over tomorrow. There is a forgotten law in human nature, one that operates beneath conscious awareness. People are drawn to what they cannot fully possess. They chase what remains just out of reach. This is why the moment you withdraw your emotional investment, the moment you shift your energy inward, people feel the void. And nature abhors a vacuum. That void pulls them back, not because you demanded it, but because the balance has changed. The ancient Stoics, the samurai, the mystics of old, they all understood this principle. Power is not in force, it is in being. It is in the quiet strength of one who needs nothing, yet commands everything. Imagine a mountain. The wind howls against it, the storms rage, but the mountain does not move, it remains. And in time, everything else, clouds, winds, storms, must yield to its presence. This is the level of emotional power you must cultivate. But understand this: the return of someone who left is not the true victory. The real triumph is that by the time they return, you will have outgrown the very need for their presence. You will have evolved into someone far greater than who they once knew. And in that moment, the power dynamic shifts irreversibly. Because the paradox of power is this: the moment you no longer seek, you attract. The moment you release, you gain. And the moment you master yourself, the world bends in ways that once seemed impossible. So, what does this mastery look like in practice? How do you internalize this blueprint and wield it effortlessly in your life? First, embrace solitude. The world fears solitude because it forces one to face themselves. But a Stoic does not fear self-reflection. They embrace it as the forge of transformation. When you cultivate comfort in your own presence, you send a silent yet powerful message. I am whole within myself, and wholeness is magnetic. Next, elevate your purpose. The ancient Stoics were men of duty, men of mission. They did not live for fleeting desires or momentary validation. They lived for something greater. When your actions align with a higher purpose, you transcend the trivialities of personal relationships. And paradoxically, this very transcendence makes you irresistible. People are drawn to those who move with certainty, those who walk a path of meaning. Then, embody detachment. Not as cold indifference, but as unwavering presence. To be detached does not mean to lack emotion, but rather to be unmoved by external forces. Love freely, give openly, but do not tether your inner state to the actions of others. You are the master of your own emotional universe, and when you embrace this, you become unshakable. The final step is the most profound. Become the exception. Most people react. Most people beg, plead, chase. You will not. You will not follow the script that others expect. Instead, you will stand firm, embodying the rare quality of true self-possession. And in a world of the predictable, the exceptional become unforgettable. And so, when they return, if they return, you will see them not as a necessity, but as a choice. Perhaps you will welcome them back, or perhaps you will walk away, knowing that the true prize was never them, but the person you became in their absence. This is not about them. It was never about them. It is about you. It is about your evolution, your strength, your unshakable essence. The world bends to those who command themselves. And when you master this art, you will see that what you once thought was lost was merely an illusion, one that no longer holds power over you. This is the ultimate Stoic truth. This is the way of those who shape their own destiny. Welcome to the new you. Welcome to Stoic Pathways. But let us go deeper. Let us dissect the nuances of this power and how it functions in all aspects of life, not just in love or relationships, but in business, in leadership, and in the way you carry yourself through the world. One of the most powerful principles of Stoicism is the concept of amor fati, love of fate. To embrace everything that happens as necessary, as something meant to be, rather than something to resist. When someone leaves, when rejection finds you, when you are faced with a loss, you do not despair, you do not curse fate. You accept, you embrace, and you grow from it. This is where true strength is cultivated. The ability to transmute pain into power, to take what could break others and use it as fuel. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the heart of Stoic resilience. Instead of seeing rejection as failure, see it as direction. Instead of mourning loss, use it as the fire that sharpens your resolve. When you train yourself to reframe every setback as an opportunity, you develop an aura of invincibility, and people are drawn to that which they cannot shake. In leadership, the same principles apply. Those who command respect do not do so through force, but through presence. A true leader does not chase approval, nor do they demand loyalty. They inspire it through their actions, through their unyielding principles. When you embody these qualities, you will find that people gravitate toward you, not because you ask them to, but because they see in you something rare, certainty in an uncertain world. This is why the greatest generals, the most revered thinkers, and the most magnetic figures in history did not rely on desperation. They did not seek validation. They stood firm, and in doing so, the world took notice. Imagine yourself as a A weak flame flickers, easily extinguished by the winds of external circumstances. But a strong flame? A strong flame burns brighter with every gust of wind, feeding off adversity, growing stronger, more intense. This is the energy you must cultivate. And it is not merely theoretical. It is practical. It is actionable. It is something you can apply in every moment of your life. When you enter a room, do so with presence. Do not shrink. Do not seek approval in the eyes of others. Instead, carry yourself as if the world itself were watching, as if every step you take leaves an imprint upon reality. When you speak, speak with intention. Words hold power. Do not waste them on meaningless chatter, on complaints, on seeking pity. Speak as though your words shape destiny, because in a very real sense, they do. When you set goals, pursue them with relentless focus. Let nothing deter you. Let no rejection dissuade you. Your mission, your path, is greater than any single setback. It is greater than any single person. And so, when people return, when opportunities resurface, when the tides shift in your favor, understand this. You did not need them. They needed you. They needed the energy, the strength, the presence that you cultivated in their absence. And that is the mark of someone who has truly mastered the Stoic Blueprint. You are not just a person, you are a force, and the world must bend accordingly. Welcome to your new reality. Welcome to Stoic Pathways.